Okay, what's up everyone? I've seen a few tutorials on how to give the Toa Mata and Nuva posable articulated necks, and this is another method that I haven't quite seen yet, so I thought I'd share it, mostly because this is using only what is probably a household item and not any kind of custom pieces that you have to buy anywhere else. I'm also fond of this method because hopefully you can see here from the side that kind of looks like a neck piece. It has some intricacy about it. It doesn't just look like a plain tube or anything like that, and it kind of has an organic feel that you might like too. So I've popped Golly's head off so you can get a good look at it here. What I've used is just one of these twisty ties, like the thing that comes on a loaf of bread or maybe an electronic like a USB cable or something like that. It's bendable, it's just got very thin metal inside of it so that it holds its shape. And I thought it would be a great alternative to some of the solutions that I've seen online. I've got it here on Kopaka and Tahoe as well. So I'm using black ones so that it'll look more like the original pieces, but I've got none left, so I'm going to hold up a white one here when I show you how I did it. So all I did was hold up the original axle right next to the twisty tie, and I just folded it over and over so that it would be the length of the original axle. So something like this. It's kind of hard to not have my hands in the way here, but something just like this is all I did. And so this one is a little bit long compared to that axle, but it should work just fine. And something I do after I twist it, or after I fold it, is I twist it so that it's more stuck together and you don't get holes in it from the side. So right here is a hole, but that's okay because that part will be stuffed into the neck or the head. But if you twist it, then you get a more solid look that looks a little bit more like the axle. And like I said, I kind of like this because the sort of grooves in it kind of remind me of the look of the axle itself, which I think is kind of cool. And if your twisty tie is much too long, you can of course cut it after you've made just 3 or maybe 4 folds, depending on how thick you want it to be. And if you don't have a black twisty tie, obviously the darker the color the better, but you can always just take a Sharpie to it or something, which is actually what I did for Kopaka here. And of course, once you've got it all folded up, it's just a matter of sticking it into the neck piece and then sticking the head on. And if you've done a bunch of folds, then it can be challenging to try to fit the head on or fit it into the neck. So I would recommend just playing around with how many folds you're going to do. But once it's on, it's quite sturdy and it's pretty easy to bend. You can have them look up, down, left, right pretty easily. You can also achieve the sort of head tilt instead of just turning or looking up and down. So with Pohatu and Onua, you can of course replace his neck piece right here with the sort of piece that Tahu has in his shoulder with the kind of open spot for an axle, so that you could then replace the axle with the twisty tie. I just don't have that piece with me right now, and it would also be a pain to match the color, so I haven't attempted to do it with them yet. But with that slight modification, which is what most people's solutions use, you could of course use a twisty tie for an axle all the same. But yeah, overall I was quite happy to stumble upon this method. I hadn't seen anyone else share it, so I thought I would. Mostly because it uses material that most people probably have around their house or are going to the next time they order bread or an electronic or something like that. So it's a great use of the little twisty ties that I tend to keep around anyway because I find it handy to manage my cables. And yeah, I hope this helps out some of y'all. Thanks for watching.